So the vessel that he invented is this. It's called the turtle boat. Previously, the military battleship looks like this. You have cannons coming out of this side, and then people are hidden under the roof, like a wooden roof of the boat, so that they can, row the boat fast, right? And then they can navigate the direction with this large anchor. And the anchor is here, but you can change directions, and then somebody is on the watchtower, but they realize that this panuksan, like a wooden roof covered battleship, was useless because Japanese are very close, like head to head, and they can land directly on that wooden ship, and then with a hammer they can break it and then kill people. So it was useless. So Lee Sun-shin, the Admiral Lee Sun-shin, invented it, that the cover, like the roof, is covered with iron ceiling, iron roof, and then he also put that pointy nails so they cannot land on it. And then the cannons are hidden here, these holes, and then so you can shoot the cannons out, and then people cannot land on it, so it became a little bit more invincible, better protected. So we don't have this for the 16th century turtle boat. This is reconstruction based on a document. So Lee Sun-shin, Admiral Lee Sun-shin, used those complicated coastal lines, and here also tidal movements is unpredictable. So that he was effectively fighting off Japanese Navy with sometimes less than 10 boats. He didn't have many of those. It's not hundreds of them. He only had 12 at some time, or he may build 18 most. So with those, he can fight off hundreds of Japanese boats. So that was very effective. So this is Hansando battle, and then this is Noryang battle. So this is where he can destroy like more than hundreds of them. So eventually the war ended, and then in the 17th century, this is really surprising to me, that the new dynasty called the Edo of Japan, and then the late Joseon dynasty, they resumed its diplomatic relationship. So these are the procession of Korean diplomatic delegation in the streets of Japan, and then they would meet, like people in the foreground here, these are Joseon envoys. They would meet the Japanese military leaders and exchange diplomatic. But they were doing this visit even in the early Joseon dynasty, but they got different reports. Envoys didn't give accurate reports. So that's why Joseon dynasty didn't know what will happen. But anyhow, we have a lot of remaining records in Japan showing the route of Joseon envoys visiting Japan up to the Edo here, like Kyoto. Edo is the Tokyo, current Tokyo. So they traveled like this and then met the Tokugawa regime, and then they came back. Their journey is recorded by Japan painters. Anyhow, so the war, so this war, Imjin War, that we just studied, so it created a large rupture, like a time, like a disconnected time in Joseon government. That is what I am going to explain in relation to Korea. So we studied this last week in relation to Buncheong. And in the early Joseon dynasty, along with Buncheong, there was also 백자, meaning white porcelain, and then 청화 백자 means white porcelain with cobalt blue painting. So we had those. After the Imjin War, ceramics in the late Joseon dynasty became mostly 백자 ware, and or some cobalt blue, 청화자, but then we are not going to have any buncheong painting. And then this 백자, like a late Joseon 백ja, is a little impure. It's not purely white in color. That's the difference between early 백자 and then later 백자. So I'll show you the example. So we talked about 분원. 분원 literally means official court kiln complex. And then that started early Joseon Dynasty and lasted until 1883. And here, the Bunwan official kiln system is important because the underglaze cobalt blue painting is possible, is made with material called cobalt. Cobalt is a mineral. It comes from current Afghanistan or Iran. So previously it's coming from through the Ming Dynasty. It's only imported. So government-centered distribution system was more effective. And then eventually the Funan system created porcelain for official for official occasions, like consumption at the port or consumption at the government buildings. But eventually, those were, in the late Joseon Dynasty, those were sold to elite families or wealthy citizens as well. So example of 백자 is this. This is right before the imjinwar, people were creating this. This was also early Joseon Dynasty. You have a very pure qualities, or you have a horn-shaped cup. But then, if you come to the late 16th and then the 17th century, the color becomes a little bit dull. You know the word called dull. It becomes a little opaque. Not really pure white, a little dull white, and then they will have a little bit more decorations. So this is the example of early Joseon Dynasty and late Joseon Dynasty. So early Joseon, at least they wanted to maintain sort of milky white color, and then sort of symmetrical design. But then after the Imjinwar, the shape or the thickness is a little bit thicker, and as you can see here, it's not exactly symmetric around. So the standards or their criteria for perfection becomes a little bit loosened. So here, after the Imjinwar, white porcelain became more plebeian ware, more like ordinary citizens can use, and then obtained the slight darker tone due to impure ingredients in clay. So that's the difference from the early Joseon to late Joseon. So, for example, this one is a great example of early Joseon Dynasty. It's a 백자, like a white body. And then that flower and birds painting, it was made by a court painter. So professional painters sometimes collaborated with porcelain makers. So it's a darker color. So iron or cotton the sleeve can create a brown patterns. So this is definitely a court consumption, used by the royal family. And this was made by that official kiln, Bunwan, and then decorated by court painters. Great example. So it's a national treasure.